Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video, and my goodness, a lot has happened since my last report when we were putting those AB8s, those countryside stewardship areas in of grass margins on the side of the fields, and we were just preparing the ground, getting ready for drilling as we sow in the winter wheat, which we do from the sort of first week of October onwards. What we've done is scratch the ground, we get everything, any weeds to grow, and there was a fair bit of rain in September that did germ things into life. You then spray those off, glyphosate those off, and then we come in and drill. And this year, because I'm doing these environmental schemes, half the arable area going in, it's less than 2 days of drilling. But the weather has not been playing ball. As I say, super wet in September, and we recorded just on 200 mil on this farm for September against an average of 55 mil. Absolute deluge. And yeah, the ground has not taken too kindly to it. Farmers all around the UK are thinking, oh no, will this 2024 season just go away? Because it's a real challenge now. Are we actually going to get the winter wheat in, all the crops in for harvest next year? And that is the challenge we've got. Now, one of the advantages of where we farm Cotswold Brash is it dries out quicker, and because it's very stony ground, it doesn't hold moisture. That's the general rule. It doesn't quite work that when you actually look at your individual farm, because you have fields that are a completely different soil type and they can be just 100 metres apart. So this field we drilled 2 days ago. Yesterday I came in and rolled it, and this is what you would term boys ground. If you have a look at it, perfectly worked. You can see how the rolls, you can just see the rolls have gone through. I don't know if I can find some seed, but if I dig around, you can see the soil. It's lovely, it's moist. If there is any seed there, there's a seed. There we go, there's the seed just there. That seed will happily germ because it's in moisture, it's the right depth, and all is good. I'd like to say everything we drilled yesterday and the day before looks like that. It doesn't. Let's go and have a look next door. I haven't really walked very far from that field, but already I can see there's a different soil type in here. It's getting a higher clay content. It hasn't got that crumb, and it's sort of stonier as well. And this is the fascination and why farming is really quite addictive, because you think, oh, I'm going to get that. This field's called bottom folly. The other one was top folly. I'm going to get bottom folly to be as good as top folly. And it's quite hard to do. Right, now let's have a look. You can sort of see the challenge here. It's higher clay content, so suddenly it's not in crumbs. There's clods here as well as the stones. It's just more challenging to get a good sort of tilth around the seed. And you'll see flashes of blue in here because I've actually put slug pellets down, preventative, because this is prime land for getting slugs. They can live in here because there's plenty of crevices for them to dive under, and they can get access to the seed because it's not as good a seed bed. Let's see if we can find some seed in here. There we are, there's the seed. You can just see it's in a crumb, but it's just the surface isn't quite as good as it was in that other field. So it will still grow, but I'm worried that slugs were also here as well, and that's why the slug pellets are on. Two fields, 100 metres apart, completely different soil type. I always admire that the old boys, where they put the fence lines, quite often they did it because of soil type. So they treat this field differently to that field up there. I'll have a quick look next door, and then we'll go and have a look at some other fields that have been quite challenging this season. Okay, now on this field, we've split it into two because it never yielded this side of the field going down the valley here. It was awkward. Combines don't like being on their side because you lose wheat out the back because the sieves like to work level in a combine, and you put it on a slope and it's all going down one side and it overloads the sieves and things. And it's quite steep going up and it's just a bit awkward. So we've taken it out and put it into this AB8 grass margin, etc. And I was out here busy sort of spinning that grass seed on and then cultivating it. It went in 15th of September, which is, yeah, sort of later than ideal, but I can see various bits of grass. You have to look really carefully because the type of grasses we're sowing are really fine. You can just about see them there, just coming up. So it's very early days with this. We'll see how it does, how it looks in the spring, but I just leave well alone for the time being, and hopefully this will all grow green up and next year will look very different, and we'll crop this side. I mean, it's still a bit of a slope here, but it's not nearly as steep as it is further down. This is another slight clay patch. So I've put slug pellets on. You can just see as the tractor's turning, you can see a bit of seed on the top, which you don't want to see. You want to see it all underground. But the vast majority of the field is good and rolled. But not all fields looks like this. So quickly dash up the other end of the farm and I'll show you some frustration that we drilled yesterday and I can't get on it. Yeah, not a field. And again, we drilled this one yesterday. This is Broadstone, and you'd think, oh, it all looks good. Trouble was, pulled out of here at about 5 o'clock yesterday. I was rolling those fields we've just come from. Sun was out, all was good. But when the drill goes through the ground, it's obviously disturbing the ground. And because we've had this 200 mil of rain, well, it's very moist. It's tacky, the soil. It's fine on top, so the tractor can pull through and do a good job. But just the soil on top, if I put the heavy rolls onto this, they would end up sort of looking like my boots. They would just fill up with mud and I'd have to come to a grinding halt. So this is unrolled and it's good. Everything's right in here, but I would just like to have it rolled. Look, there's the seed there, just see it there. Good tilth, everything right, but the rolling just adds the final sort of, it's like putting varnish on a paintwork or a polish or something. It means the surface is clean, level, your pre-emergent sprays, weed killers work better, the slugs haven't got access to the seed, and it's like finishing the job. This is not finished, and it's incredibly frustrating because I wanted to do it today, but there is no sun. It's 10:30 at the moment. There is forecast no sun today and possibly 6 mil of rain. I hope to get in here, and until I roll it, I won't be happy. We might end up putting a pre-emergent spray on a lumpy seed bed like this, but the trouble then, if there's a seed hiding in that clod, well, it'll crumble in the first frosts and things. The weed killer will not kill that seed. I'd like to say this is my main problem field, but it's not. That's one over there. Let's go and have a look at that now. Now this field, Big Picket, is the one that has the heaviest clay in it, the trickiest one to farm. And this harvest just gone, it was probably my best field. It was the best it had ever looked in the 20 years I've been farming this farm. But we've taken this bottom end out and put it into this AB8. This is really heavy clay here. It's always a challenge. I mean, the rest of the field is pretty heavy, but you can see what we're up against here, how much water there's been. You know, here we are, just the beginning of October, and it looks like that. I mean, that's some ruts going through there. But it is a challenge, this field, at the best of times. You need perfect conditions to be able to get on it, and there's a lot of ground, heavy clay like this. If you go over Northamptonshire way where they had all that rain, my heart goes out to them, because they just, what do we do? Once this sort of ground gets 200 mil of rain in September, it's headache time. It really is, when you can get on. And I look back, and we had a real challenge actually in 2019, that it was very wet that year. Beautiful conditions September. I remember putting some winter linseed in near perfect conditions about 19th, 20th of September. Get to about the 10th of October, just cloudburst, huge amount of rain, and we didn't actually get the winter wheat in until February that year. And 2020 harvest reflected that. It was one of the worst ever. The yields weren't there because, yeah, it hardly had any growing time with the wheat. It hadn't gone into fantastic conditions. And you just think, oh, well, let's wait till next year. And I have a sort of deja vu feeling about this field if you swing round and see what we're facing here. So this is the last field we had to drill on this farm. We're well over halfway of getting the wheat in for this year. We've just got another 40 odd acres to do on another farm. And I knew this field would be a challenge. And so it's proved. You can see the sort of zebra stripes there. So that's the cultivation we'd done in this field to pre-germ any weeds. It's pretty good. Not a lot of weed growth in this one. It's not a weedy field at all, thank goodness. But it's this heavy clay. And you can see as that drill was going through last night, about 6, 7 o'clock, it was starting to bung up. And that's what this is. And when the drill starts doing that, well, you just have to give up. So you have that great power of the tractor pulling that cultivator through. The idea is if you've got good soil structure, it fractures the soil, crumbs it up. The seed is then dropped in that crumb and you're left with a surface seed covered, all is good. If it's tacky, and this, boy is this tacky, this is pure plasticine-y sort of soil. If it's tacky, it starts bunging up the drill and it all sort of breaks down, it doesn't work. And you can see here, there's this drag through here. This is not pretty. This is called mauling in wheat. So you can see how the culture has tried to drop the seed in the right place, but there's no tilth on top because the drill's bunged up and it's just dragging it through, no tilth. So this is a mess, this field, and we had to pull out. We have to give up on this. And so you go, that first field we looked at, top 40, boys ground, there's a grass field just the other side of there, and where those trees in the horizon, that's that field. That's only 300, 400 metres away from where we're standing in this toughest ground I've got. And it's extraordinary how soil type changes. Even on a small farm like us, I go from this to top folly, which I can do any day of the week, perfect conditions, couldn't be better seedbed, to here, when this is just a, well, I can't call it a disaster, but it's getting close to disaster. So yeah, we're stuffed here. I've looked at the forecast and we have rain every single day this week. Another 27 mil of rain. We can't get in here until we've had 3 or 4 days sun, yeah, not just sort of like this. We need this to actually dry out a bit more. I can't roll it. I can't put slug, I could put slug pellets on, but I haven't even finished the field. If you look around, we've got all the headland to do as well. I don't know. And that is the challenge that a lot of farmers in the UK are facing, thinking, goodness sake, will this year just give up? But it's the 200 mil that we had in September that sort of caused this. We've just got soil type that we can't work when it's as wet as that. How long are we going to have to wait until this becomes dry enough for us to get on and put next year's harvest in? I don't know. I was also looking at the figures. Oilseed rape, I mentioned how that has dropped away. The provisional figures have next year's crop of oilseed rape at 700, 750 tonnes. We have a requirement in the UK of 2 million tonnes. We used to grow 2.2, 2.3 million tonnes of oilseed rape down to 700,000 tonnes. We're going to have to import 1.3 million tonnes of the stuff. Wheat, well, with normal drilling, everything was going to be okay. We knew the harvest was going to be down. They're talking about 10, 11 million tonnes for next year. It might be 9. We used to grow 17 million tonnes of wheat in this country. So the market is just starting to react because that rain was actually all over Europe. It's not just the UK that's been affected this year. So it'd be very interesting, but the market is just starting to creep up. It's been static, the grain price, for a while, but now the futures just went over £200 for November 25. If the promised rain carries on for the rest of October as well, Lord knows. Anyway, I don't want to get down because I'm trying to predict the future, and that is always a dangerous thing. So there you go, there's an update on Harry's farm. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming along very soon.